Hey guys, so in this week's video I'm drawing Rapunzel on a piece of wood, and I've done this before. Well, not Rapunzel, it was different artwork. I've drawn on a circular piece of wood before, but that was almost 2 years ago. I checked the date on it. Yeah, it's been almost 2 years. So it's about time I got another one done, and it's one of those things I've been meaning to do, but I kept forgetting about. So finally getting my wood video in, and this circle is bigger so I can get more detail on it, which is nice. And I decided to draw Rapunzel because I was kind of stuck. I couldn't think of something original, so I was like, okay, let's do some fan art. And I realized Rapunzel is also something I've been meaning to draw because it's one of my favorite Disney movies, and I've never drawn her before, I don't think. So I figured it was time. So this piece of wood is just from Michael's, and I don't think they're very expensive. It's maybe $5 or something, and I think I even got them on sale when I bought them. Unfortunately, I only have one this size that's circular, and I have one roughly the same size that's rectangular, and the rest of them are small, like the last one I did. So I definitely need to get my hands on some more big ones, and I also wouldn't mind getting some wood panel that's just like actual wood panel that is just ultra smooth, whatever the textures, but mine has a lot of dents and scratches in it and defects, and it has the border. I'd like something that's just a rectangular piece of wood panel. That would be pretty nice. I think these wood panels are more for crafting type of things. I don't know, I just think they're maybe not the best quality, but anyway, they're good enough. So I think you can see some of the dents. You can see one on her shoulder, you can see one on the left hand side, not really on her, but beside her hair. There's some pretty nasty dents and scratches in this, but you don't really notice them so much at the end. Plus, the pencil picks up so much texture from the wood all over that it actually adds a lot of character to it, and you end up not really minding those defects. Some things I was going to say about the sketching process are now we're past that point. I kind of struggled with the pose initially. You were going to be seeing her looking over her shoulder a little bit. Well, one of her shoulders would be raised and you see slightly behind that shoulder, but I just couldn't really get it to work. So I dropped that shoulder down a bit. It's still a bit higher than the other one. And then with the eyes, I ended up redrawing them because I drew them too small and spaced out. But everything else went pretty okay. And I do end up changing her bangs in the future. Right now, they're fine, but see how there's sort of three pieces swooping over? I changed it so the bangs start a little more to the left so that it just looks more like Rapunzel's swoopy. Oh, now I'm busting in the colors. Oh, snap. By the way, I used my Prismacolor Col-Erase pencils to do the outlining to clean up the graphite. And then now I'm using my Prismacolor Premier pencils to color it in. And it can be pretty tricky. First of all, when you're sketching, you can't press too hard. Even if you're pressing quite lightly, it's really hard to erase. So that was something I was quite nervous about. So I try my best to keep the lines somewhat light. And same with when I used the colored pencils to outline. Because I didn't want a really harsh look, so I didn't want to do inks. And when you're coloring, it's really hard to layer colors because the wood is quite smooth. There is some grain to the wood that you can see, but it's still smooth between the grain and the wood. It's a pretty smooth surface. It's like working on a paper that doesn't have any tooth, and so it's really hard to build up and layer. So I struggled a little bit to get in some shadows and get things blended nicely. But I think it actually looks nice with that softer look. It does, there's not super deep shadows or anything. So, okay, I need a drink of water. I'm losing my voice here. But yes, I just like the softer look that it ended up having anyway. So it worked out. It is a bit of a struggle though, so if you do this, beware. And I found that it was a little bit easier to use my Prismacolor Premiers as opposed to my Scholars. I did use the Scholars previously, but I tried using them here when I did the border, and I just couldn't get enough pigmentation. The color just looked a bit washed out. You could see too much of the wood underneath, and so I decided, okay, I'll use my Premiers. The reason I didn't want to is because it really eats up the lead when you're coloring all around the edges, but I think it was a smart choice because the colors look pretty good in the end. So yes, about outlining her eyes, I didn't mean to make the outlines that thick. on the top, yes, but her bottom eyelids, I didn't want them to look that thick, but I was working my way up to where one of the grains was, and it was like, it's like a little mountain that you hit. And coloring in the valley is okay, although it's super smooth, and then you get to that little mountain and it just veers your pencil in directions you don't want it to go. And so it ended up being thick, but thankfully it wasn't distorted. The line is still the proper shape, it's just thicker than I wanted. But it's still cute, and that's really the only area that gets outlined in black as well. The rest just stays a more softer look. And then, so yeah, for her skin I used the standard peach color, some light pinks, a bit of red on the cheeks just to make them a bit darker, and then for the shadows there was a brown and a purple. And for the hair I'm doing brown and a few different yellows, and I tried to pick yellows that were slightly more muted. It's not bright neon yellows or anything. I tried to make it a bit more closer to the natural blonde color of hair. Yeah, not much else exciting to say about the coloring, I don't think. Initially, when I first started this picture, well, before I even started the sketch, I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to make something cool, and I'm going to put it up in my online store because I need more original art to put up, because I don't want it to be just prints, I want original stuff to sell too. But I often don't have stuff to sell, and when I do, it sells out right away. So I was like, okay, I need to make something new to throw up in my store, and it'd be really cool to have a piece of wood, and I ended up liking it too much, and I don't want to put it in my online store. And it's not only just that the art turned out nicely. I mean, like I said, Rapunzel, like Tangled, is one of my favorite Disney movies. I really like Rapunzel, so I kind of want to keep her. Plus, it just looks great in real life. With any artwork, it looks 10 times better in real life than it ever will in one of my videos or in a scan or a photograph. When you see artwork in person, it is so much more majestic. And I feel like with this piece, it's even more so because of the wood and the texture and the colors. And I took some photos of it, and I was trying to adjust the color balance in Photoshop, and I just could not get it to look as nice as the colors in real life. Oh, the struggle. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna prop this up on my little shelf behind my desk because I like it, and so I think I want to keep it. What I like about I said I want to try some wood that doesn't have the borders, but what's cool about the borders is it makes it feel like a finished thing. You don't need to frame it. It's got dimension to it. It's got a border. It's just really cool looking. It feels very finished. And I don't put any varnish on mine. I actually just tonight tested out spraying some varnish on my old Blue Bear wood piece that I did, and it worked fine. It just makes it slightly glossy. It already is a bit glossy because it's waxy, but it made it a little more glossy. So I don't think I'm going to spray Rapunzel. I don't know, maybe if I get a more matte fixative, then I will. So yeah, but for now, it's just going to stay unsprayed. I love the rustic look of it because your instinct is to really smooth things out. And so there are areas where you can't lay down the color as well. The color gets lighter because the wood is ultra smooth in that spot. And so it can be frustrating because you're trying to get it to look even. And no matter how many times you color over it, it's not as dark as the areas around it. But that just adds to the rustic feel. It's, now I wish I could just do so many drawings like this without wanting to keep them all. I want them to go around the world and go to people's homes, but I get so attached sometimes. So I'll definitely have to make more. I'll have to make so many wood artworks that I don't even know what to do with them, and I have to get rid of them. That would be great. So yes. Oh yeah, not only did I get in a character I've been meaning to draw and how I've been meaning to do a wood video, I've also been meaning to do more pencil crayon stuff. So kind of killing 3 birds with 1 stone in this. So that's pretty cool. And in the background, initially I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll draw some bushes and things, just kind of some outdoor scenery. And then I changed my mind and decided to do a brick wall similar to what her tower might look like if it was made of stone, you know, kind of stone bricks is the idea I was going for, and I decided to put vines on it. So that's what I'm doing, and that's pretty much it for the background. I also made a bit of a gradient, which is something I don't do enough. I tend to make my backgrounds a little too plain sometimes, and I think to myself, oh, I need to do gradients. It's just one of those things you think of after, but it really helps. So the brick is not all just one color everywhere. It's lighter around Rapunzel and it's darker around the edges. And so that just helps with the composition, I think, and helps make it a little more interesting. And with pencils, it's so easy to blend. So here I'm busting out the scholars because I didn't want to use my nicer pencils to color the outside, especially because the outer edges are more rough than the top surface, and so it really wears down the lead. But once I started doing the purple, I was just not happy. It didn't look great at all. And so this purple you're seeing right now is the Premiers. It's just creamier and better, and I actually colored over top of the pink after, right here. Yeah, so it just brightened it up a little bit, but it was nice because I had the Scholar as a base. I didn't even end up using too much of the pink lead. But for the purple, it was exclusively the Premier pencil. So you don't need fancy pencils to do this. It's just they lay down color a little bit better. So here's some nice close-ups of all the texture. I really wanted to try to show the beauty of it, but it's so hard through a video. So yeah, that's my close-up shot, and that is it for this week's video. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next video, and here's a quick shot of Blue Bear if you want to see what she looks like, and I'll link to that video at the end as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. There's time that passes between these two shots. It's not meant to be continuous, but it feels a little bit jumpy, but whatever. So it's like, yeah, chasing it, and yeah, pew. That's the thingy. I had to just go back and tweak a few things, and like I added some camera shake right here. When the ball hits the camera, it tilts side to side, and I realized that because I was not zoomed in at all, when it rotated there would be black. You could see just